Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA, the show that gets you ahead of the rest. I'm Shubhan Chandna.
And I'm Diksha Bisla, and coming up on the show today, the US military says it shot down an Iranian drone after it aggressively approached a US aircraft carrier in the Arabian Sea with what the Pentagon calls unclear intent. Now, this incident comes at a delicate moment as tensions remain high between Washington and Tehran, even as both sides are preparing for talks later this week on nuclear issues and also regional security. We're going to break down all of this on the show today. Stay tuned.
Also on World DNA, just a day before scheduled peace talks with Ukraine, Russia resumed strikes on Ukrainian energy infrastructure as temperatures in Kiev plummeted, effectively ending a brief informal energy ceasefire ahead of negotiations. Does this undermine the peace effort, or is it a familiar pattern all too common in this part of the world between Russia and Ukraine? We'll be unpacking that and also looking at the developments in the India-US trade deal as External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in Washington for further talks. Let's start with the headlines first. Lots to unpack.
I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
US shoots down an Iranian drone near its aircraft carrier in West Asia, raising tensions. But the White House says talks with Tehran remain on track. President Trump confirms it.
Russia conducts most powerful attack of the year on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, leaving hundreds of thousands without heating. Strikes killed 2 teenagers in Zaporizhia and damaged Soviet-era World War II monument.
We're working on that. We're working on some other things too, including sanctions. And we had a very good meeting.
Donald Trump and Gustavo Petro signaled thaw in relations after meeting at White House. US President says the talks with Colombian counterpart went well and he is working on lifting sanctions on the country.
Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk says he will launch an investigation into the possible links between sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and Russian intelligence, as well as any impact on Poland.
We monitor those submarines. We know when they leave port. We know when they test their new weapon systems, and we share it with you and we collaborate on monitoring that.
Norwegian Prime Minister rejects Trump's criticism of NATO, emphasizing that the alliance provides critical security value to US, says Norway closely monitors Russia's nuclear submarine activity and shares intelligence with the United States.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets Marco Rubio and Scott Bessent in Washington a day after Donald Trump announced the India-US trade deal. He will attend critical minerals ministerial meeting convened by Rubio today.
UK Prime Minister's office says Keir Starmer and US President Donald Trump have agreed to work closely to maintain key Diego Garcia military base in Indian Ocean following recent criticism by Trump of UK action.
At least 15 people killed in a collision between a speedboat carrying migrants and a Greek Coast Guard patrol vessel off the island of Chios. Search and rescue operation with patrol boats, helicopters and divers are underway.
US President Donald Trump signals a spending bill ending a 4-day partial shutdown. The measure funds most agencies through September and temporarily extends funding for Department of Homeland Security as lawmakers negotiate immigration enforcement reforms.
The White House says talks with Iran are still on course, even as two incidents in West Asian waters threaten to derail that planned meeting.
A US fighter jet shot down an Iranian drone flying near the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, while Iranian forces attempted to detain a US flagged tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, the US Central Command said that a F-35C fighter shot down an Iranian Shahed 139 drone after it flew aggressively towards the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea. The carrier is operating about 500 miles from Iran's southern coast.
In the other incident, Iran's Revolutionary Guard's fast gunboats attempted to board a US-flagged commercial ship near the Strait of Hormuz.
The Iranian boats scattered before a US Navy destroyer arrived to escort the ship with support from the Air Force.
Now, reports also say that Iran has demanded changes to the venue and format for the upcoming negotiation meeting. The Iranians want to move the talks away from Istanbul to Oman, and Tehran is also seeking a bilateral format now and wants to exclude Arab and Muslim countries acting as observers in this meeting.
Well, sources said that Iran wants to limit talks to nuclear issues and does not want to discuss other issues like missile program and backing to armed groups in the region. These issues are priorities for other countries in the region.
Despite these incidents and new demands, the White House confirmed that US envoy Steve Witkoff is still expected to hold conversations with the Iranian side this week. President Trump, meanwhile, claimed that US is negotiating with Iran right now. Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump said that there was more than one meeting. Listen to this.
On Iran, are the negotiations still happening this week?
Yeah.
Where will they be? And what do you need to hear from
The
Iran?
rollover, but they are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something is going to be done. They had a chance to do something a while ago, and it didn't work out, and we did Midnight Hammer. I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
Mr. President.
Where will the meeting be? It seems like
I
it's
can't tell
changing.
you that.
Mr. President.
There's more than one meeting.
Meanwhile, US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met in Israel with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Netanyahu told Witkoff that Iran cannot be trusted. Reports say that Defense Minister Israel Katz, Military Chief Eyal Zamir, and Mossad Chief David Barnea also attended the meeting.
Another report mentions that Israel has laid out several demands for American negotiators ahead of these talks with Iran, including 4 key demands. It wants Iran to transfer its highly enriched material to another country, that's highly enriched uranium, halt nuclear enrichment completely, seize its production of ballistic missiles, and stop funding anti-Israel armed groups across West Asia.
Now, Iran has already rejected these demands, saying that the only topic on the table will be nuclear. A top advisor to Iran's supreme leader also stressed that there is no reason to transfer the country's highly enriched uranium abroad.
The negotiations are only and only with America, and the subject is only and only the nuclear issue. An agreement about the nuclear issue is possible. Negotiations are possible if the atmosphere, language, and equipment for threats are not there, and a fair negotiation aimed at reaching mutual understanding takes place at the table.
Russia has launched its most powerful attack this year on Ukraine's battered energy facilities.
And that has left thousands without heating in freezing temperatures. 2 teenagers were killed most recently in the southern city of Zaporizhia, and a Soviet-era World War II monument was damaged in the strikes.
The attack comes a day before Ukrainian and Russian negotiators were due to meet for a second round of US-brokered talks in Abu Dhabi.
Ukrainian President Zelensky denounced the attack, saying taking advantage of the coldest days of winter to terrorize people is more important to Russia than diplomacy. He said he was waiting for the US response now.
It was America's proposal to stop strikes on energy infrastructure during diplomatic efforts and the cold winter period. This request was made personally by the President of the United States. We see that Russia responded to this request with a record use of ballistic weapons. Not even 4 days have passed from the week that Russia was asked to observe. This also says a lot about everything else Russia promises or may promise.
NATO chief Mark Rutte, who was on a visit to Kiev, said Russian attacks like these do not signal seriousness about peace. Listen to this.
This has nothing to do with winning a war or fighting a war, which, as I said, in itself was unprovoked, starting on the 24th of February 2022. But this is creating chaos.
Ukraine's Air Force has mentioned that Russia attacked with 71 missiles and 450 attack drones. Russian Defense Ministry confirmed that it had launched a massive strike against Ukrainian military industrial complex, enterprise and energy facilities. The Kremlin last week said that it agreed to a US request not to strike Kiev for 7 days.
US President Donald Trump urged his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin to end the war. He, however, defended Putin, saying he kept his word by not attacking Ukraine for 7 days.
It was Sunday. It was Sunday to Sunday, and it opened up, and he hit him hard last night. No, he kept his word on that. It's a lot. 1 week is we'll take anything because it's really, really cold over there. But it was on Sunday, and he went from Sunday to Sunday.
Are you disappointed he didn't go further or go
I would like him to. I want him to end the war. I spoke to him. I want him to end the war.
The second round of talks is expected to focus on the crucial issue of territory. Russia has demanded Kiev withdraw from the Donetsk region and has repeatedly said that it is ready to seize the rest of eastern Ukraine by force if diplomacy fails. The US president has drawn flack yet again. This time around, Trump has expressed his desire for the federal government to take over
election-related powers of the state, and this is ahead of the midterm polls. While speaking with ex-FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino on his podcast, Trump expressed a wish to nationalize voting and urged Republicans to take over voting in at least 15 states. While Trump hinted at irregularities in votes counted in Democrat-ruled states, as per the U.S. Constitution, states are empowered to not only provide the time and place of elections, but also aspects like supervision of voting, protection of voters, prevention of fraud and counting of votes.
Trump also predicted fresh revelations regarding rigging after FBI's raids in Georgia last week. The searches were seen as an endeavor to seize election records and probe alleged voter fraud in the 2020 presidential polls. Trump has often claimed that this election was stolen, that specific election was stolen from him.
And Trump's remarks come in the wake of his repeated worry about losing the upcoming midterms, which will see 435 seats in the House of Representatives, while 35 Senate seats go to the polls in November this year. Trump has cited historical trends that have seen the party in power lose seats in the second year of a presidency. Earlier this year, the US president told House Republicans at their annual retreat that he will get impeached if he doesn't win the midterms.
Subsequently, he reportedly expressed his desire to cancel the polls altogether, while the White House later clarified that Trump was joking. His remarks raised concerns about his future plans.
For instance, during his Iowa speech last week, Trump again hinted at the possibility of running for a third term, which is barred under the US Constitution. He also warned that very bad things will happen if Republicans lose the midterms.
If we lose the midterms, you'll lose so many of the things that we're talking about, so many of the assets that we're talking about, so many of the tax cuts that we're talking about, and it would lead to very bad things.
And the partial US government shutdown has ended.
21 House Democrats voted with Republicans to reopen the government and keep the Department of Homeland Security funded for 2 weeks. President Trump signed a spending bill ending the 4-day partial government shutdown. The shutdown was sparked by Democratic opposition to funding for the federal agency carrying out Trump's sweeping immigration crackdown.
The legislation landed on Trump's desk after it was passed by a narrow margin of 3 votes in the Republican-controlled House. The House voted 217 to 214 to pass the legislation.
The bill funds the departments of other government other government departments, until September, while extending the Homeland Security funding for 2 weeks. The short-term extension of DHS funding is intended to give lawmakers time to negotiate reforms to ICE and other agencies.
And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
The government shutdown is over for now. Lawmakers approved a short-term deal to reopen federal agencies, restoring paychecks and basic operations, but this agreement does not resolve the core budget dispute that caused the standoff in the first place. Instead, Congress has bought itself time. Funding for most of the government will continue until the end of the fiscal year, but the next pressure point arrives on February 13th, when funding for the Department of Homeland Security runs out unless a longer-term deal is reached. Negotiations resume under a new deadline, with the same disagreements still persisting. President Donald Trump signed the bill live on TV from the White House on Tuesday afternoon. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Colombian President Gustavo Petro met a U.S. counterpart Donald Trump at the White House.
And both leaders said that the talks went well. The meeting marked the first in-person encounter between the two leaders.
Now, the Colombian president said they discussed possible paths forward, although they were not on the same page on every issue.
We talked about concrete problems and about common pathways to solve them. He didn't change his mind on many issues, neither did I. But how do you make a pact? A pact isn't between twin brothers. A pact is between opponents who can find a path to a human brotherhood.
Well, Trump and Petro have had a frosty relationship in the recent past, but the meeting suggested a potential thawing of the ties. When asked about U.S. sanctions, Petro claimed that they were not brought up.
Yes, I told him it's between free men, and one cannot act under blackmail. Do this, or else this will happen. No, we don't say that. Absolutely not. We don't act under blackmail.
Speaking from the Oval Office, Trump said he got along very well with Petro. The U.S. president added the two countries are working on anti-drug trafficking cooperation as well as on lifting the sanctions U.S. placed on the South American country.
We got along very well. He and I weren't exactly the best of friends, but I wasn't insulted because I never met him. I didn't know him at all. We got along very well, and we're working on that. We're working on some other things too, including sanctions. And we had a very good meeting.
So you were
I thought he was terrific. He was very good. We got along great.
Well, according to Petro, Trump has also offered to mediate in a tariff tiff between Colombia and neighbor Ecuador.
South American neighbors have imposed steep import tariffs of 30% on one another. This is amid a dispute over how to tackle drug trafficking. This is also a major political issue for Trump.
In the past, Trump has described drug trafficking as a national security threat, and one of the several reasons he used to justify the attack on Venezuela.
Previously, Petro had criticized Trump's immigration crackdown and the U.S. seizure of Venezuela's President Maduro. Trump as well had threatened military action against Colombia, which shares a border with Venezuela.
Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, the son of late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi and once considered his heir apparent, has been killed in the North African country.
Saif al-Islam was 53 years old. Libyan officials say Saif was killed in the town of Zintan, southwest of the capital Tripoli, though the circumstances of his death remain unclear. Local media reported that armed men entered his home and killed him. Prosecutors are now investigating the killing. His lawyer confirmed his death on social media without providing details.
Educated at the London School of Economics, Saif al-Islam was long seen as the reformist face of the Gaddafi regime. He played a prominent role in shaping policy before the 2011 uprising that toppled his father.
After Muammar Gaddafi was toppled in 2011 and killed, Saif was captured while attempting to flee Libya to neighboring Niger. He was held for years by fighters before being released in June of 2017. Since then, he was living in Zintan.
In 2015, a Libyan court sentenced him to death in absentia for inciting violence and killing protesters. He was also wanted by the International Criminal Court on charges of crimes against humanity in connection with the 2011 uprising.
Then in 2021, he attempted a political comeback, registering as a presidential candidate, but the elections could not take place due to a political deadlock. The news of his death underscores the ongoing volatility in Libya's political landscape and also marks the end of a controversial chapter in the history of the Gaddafi family. Well, the younger generation has always been smarter than the older one. That's what one has always believed.
But now the long climb of human intelligence has hit a sudden vertical drop. For the first time since records began, children are scoring lower on IQ tests than their parents, which is sparking a global panic over the digital erosion of the human mind. Our next story explains why. Take a look.
It begins with digital addiction. Before Gen Z learned to read, they learned to swipe. Before boredom could sharpen curiosity, an algorithm filled the gap. Gen Z averages 9 hours daily on screens. This high usage is driven by social media, gaming, and streaming. Experts warn that this constant digital stimulation may be quietly reshaping the brain-shortening attention spans, weakening memory, and dulling problem-solving skills. During the hearing of U.S. Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, experts explain how the kids have been cognitively stunted by their over-reliance on digital technology in school.
The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Across 80 countries, as Jean was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school. And that's across 80 countries.
For more than 100 years, human intelligence followed a clear upward path. Each generation scored higher on IQ tests than the one before, a rise known as the Flynn effect. That pattern has now stalled. In some countries, it has reversed. Researchers say Gen Z shows weaker performance in areas such as reading comprehension, mental arithmetic, focus, and logical reasoning, despite spending more years in classrooms than their parents. The paradox is striking. This is the most educated generation on paper, yet one that struggles with sustained thinking. Experts point to digital overload, endless notifications, short-form videos, instant answers replacing effort. When information is always available, the brain stops storing it. Memory becomes external. Thinking becomes reactive. Sleep loss compounds the problem. Studies show Gen Z sleeps less than previous generations, largely due to late-night screen use. Poor sleep directly impacts learning, emotional regulation, and decision-making. Add rising anxiety, social media pressure, and economic uncertainty, and the cognitive load becomes heavier still. However, some critics argue intelligence is changing, not disappearing. Gen Z excels at visual navigation, rapid information scanning, and adapting to new tools. Traditional IQ tests, designed in the age of books and letters, may not fully capture these skills. What looks like lower intelligence may instead be a shift away from deep, linear thinking toward fast, fragmented processing. Gen Z remains a complex mix, highly adaptable, tech-fluent, and socially aware, yet facing unprecedented economic stress, burnout, and now questions about how today's minds are shaped. Whether this marks decline, transformation, or just a shift in skill sets, one thing is clear: the generational IQ story has changed, and the debate is just beginning.
And with that, it's time for us to slip into a very short break on World DNA.
More reports coming up on the other side. India's Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO successfully tested a critical propulsion technology that is set to bolster the country's air defence capabilities. We'll bring you the details.
Also coming up, Spain is planning to ban social media use for children under the age of 16 and introduce new laws that could hold social media executive personally liable. All this and more coming up on the other side of World DNA. Stay tuned. You're watching Beyond World is One.
India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
And welcome to a brand new edition of South India, a daily dynamic show that will capture the pulse of southern states.
By blending the special stories, the breaking alerts, and the culture developments as well. From the 7 days.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching World DNA with Diksha. I'm Shivan. Lots more to discuss on this side of the show as well. Lots more reports lined up for you. Let's start with the headlines first.
Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk suggests that deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein may have been a Russian spy. Announces that Poland will investigate pedophiles' links with Russian intelligence services.
Midnight Hammer I don't think they want that happening again, but they would like to negotiate. We are negotiating with them right now, yes.
US shoots down an Iranian drone near its aircraft carrier in West Asia, raising tensions. But the White House says talks with Tehran remain on track. President Trump confirms it.
Russia conducts most powerful attack of the year on Ukraine's energy infrastructure, leaving hundreds of thousands without heating. Strikes killed 2 teenagers in Zaporizhzhia and damaged Soviet-era World War II monument.
We're working on that. We're working on some other things too, including sanctions. And we had a very good meeting.
Donald Trump and Gustavo Petro signal a thaw in relations after a meeting at the White House. US President says that talks with the Colombian counterpart went well and he is working on lifting sanctions on the country.
We monitor those submarines. We know when they leave port. We know when they test their new weapon systems, and we share it with you and we collaborate on monitoring that.
Norwegian Prime Minister rejects Trump's criticism of NATO, emphasizing that the alliance provides critical security value to US, as Norway closely monitors Russia's nuclear submarine activity and shares intelligence with the United States.
Son of Libya's late dictator Muammar Gaddafi, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, has been killed in Zintan. His office says he was killed in direct confrontation with 4 unknown gunmen who broke into his home.
At least 15 people have been killed in collision between speedboat carrying migrants and Greek Coast Guard patrol vessel off the islands of Chios. Rescue and search operation in patrol boats, helicopter and divers are underway.
Democratic senators on the Senate Banking Committee ask Republican Chair Tim Scott to delay the nomination proceedings for Kevin Warsh, President Trump's pick, to lead the Federal Reserve. They demand a pause until the investigations into the Fed Chair Powell and Governor Cook conclude.
Arsenal take a step closer to winning their first major silverware since 2020. The Gunners beat Chelsea 4-2 on aggregate in the semis to reach the EFL Cup final. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held back-to-back meetings in Washington.
First with the US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and then with Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Now these meetings come just a day after the India-US trade deal was announced. Trump announced he would be cutting reciprocal tariffs on Indian goods to 18% following a phone call with Prime Minister Modi.
After meeting with Bessent, Jaishankar in a post on X said that they had a very useful discussion on advancement of India-US economic partnership and strategic cooperation.
Later in the day, after a meeting with Rubio, Jaishankar in another post noted that both sides held conversations that covered India-US bilateral cooperation agenda, regional and global issues as well. Jaishankar is on a 3-day visit to the US, during which he will be participating in the inaugural Critical Mineral Ministerial on Wednesday.
Now, according to the US State Department, the Critical Minerals Ministerial is bringing together delegations from over 50 countries to advance cooperation on securing and diversifying global critical mineral supply chain.
Well, coming to the India-US trade deal, Trump's trade envoy, Jamieson Greer, described the long-awaited agreement as an exciting opportunity, while noting that the final paperwork is still in the works. He further noted that New Delhi is maintaining protection around agriculture goods. Remember, addressing a press briefing after Trump announced a tariff cut, India's Commerce and Industries Minister Piyush Goyal yesterday assured the interests of India's sensitive agriculture as well as dairy sectors remain fully protected under this pact.
And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in Washington, where the two discussed formalizing cooperation on critical minerals, including exploration, mining, and processing as well, and welcomed the recent trade deal agreed upon between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi, highlighting the importance of democracies working together to advance economic and energy security goals. This is all according to a State Department readout. Now, during his visit, S. Jaishankar also met with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and is set to take part in the Critical Minerals Ministerial meeting on Wednesday in Washington. The meeting comes as both countries look to deepen bilateral and multilateral cooperation, including in the Quad framework, with a shared focus on a prosperous Indo-Pacific region. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
India has taken another stride towards strengthening its military air strength.
Successfully testing a critical propulsion technology. Now the test marks a significant leap in India's journey towards next-generation missile capabilities.
The DRDO, Defence Research and Development Organisation, conducted the test from the Integrated Test Range located in Chandipur, Odisha. The solid fuel ducted ramjet SFDR technology enables the development of long-range air-to-air missiles with higher speed, greater payload capacity and enhanced strategic advantage. The successful demonstration paves the way for development of India's next-generation Astra Mark III missiles. The Astra Mark III, now officially named Gandiv, is an advanced indigenous beyond visual range air-to-air missile under the development by DRDO.
Well, Arabian waters are heating up with Iran-US tensions.
The international waters are never short of surprises. We've seen enough of it since 2023, especially when it comes to world's most volatile regions. A Chinese vessel most recently is operating in the same area where USS Abraham Lincoln has been deployed.
Now, at a time of heightened US military presence near Iran, China's ocean-going research vessel, Dayanghihao, or Ocean Number 1, has been operating in the Arabian Sea. According to a maritime analysis group affiliated with Stanford University, the ship has been surveying waters west of India since December 19. A separate military observer says both vessels may have crossed paths in the vast ocean. However, the exact distance between the two ships is not known.
USS Abraham Lincoln is a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. It was redirected to West Asia in mid-January, and the carrier strike group is equipped with advanced air and missile defense systems. It is also capable of launching cruise missiles that can strike targets deep inside Iran.
The tiny ship is a scientific research ship. It is equipped with advanced seabed mapping systems, real-time ocean floor imaging, satellite communications, and the ability to monitor abnormal marine sounds.
China has maintained a restrained stance in Iran-US tensions. Beijing has warned the law of the jungle and opposed the use or threat of force in international relations. The world's biggest auto market has just shaken up the global car industry.
Now, Beijing has outlawed a sleek but controversial feature that has become a design hallmark of electric vehicles. The move could ripple from Shanghai to Mumbai and beyond. Take a look at this next report for more details.
China has taken the bold step of banning hidden or flush car door handles, a design first made famous by Tesla and now used on a wide range of electric vehicles. China is citing serious safety fears after accidents where occupants were trapped because powerless handles failed to open. Hidden or pop-out handles were embraced because they cut aerodynamic drag and give cars a smooth, futuristic look, and they are widespread. new vehicle models in China must align their door handle design with the new regulation from January 1st, 2027, while approved models will come under the rules by January 1st, 2029. The global automotive door hinges market is estimated to reach a size of $7.75 billion in 2025. It is predicted to rise 4.3% through the assessment period to attain a value of $10.41 billion by 2032. In China's new energy vehicle market, which includes battery EVs and hybrids, about 60% of the top 100 best-selling models use these flush handles. China is by far the largest car market on the planet, accounting for roughly 40% of global EV sales. Its decision doesn't just reshape domestic safety rules, it may influence how cars are designed globally. Last year, the US Auto Safety Agency opened a defect probe into Tesla Model 3 sedan's emergency door release controls. Analysts say automakers selling in Europe, India, the US and elsewhere may preemptively move away from hidden handles to avoid running afoul of evolving safety norms. Safety advocates are clear. No amount of aerodynamic drag reduction is worth the cost of a locked door in an emergency.
The Singapore Air Show has kicked off to a flying start. A thrilling opening display of aircraft aerobatics from across the Asia-Pacific region mesmerized the crowd.
Now, with pyrotechnics, tailspins, flips and flybys, the works, the biennial show features a combination of military and commercial aircraft. Take a look at these visuals. Central banks from Washington to Frankfurt are telling us they're in a good place.
And they have a point, even if that seems widely at odds with gestures at everything going on in the world. In this next report, we look at what could drag policymakers out of their happy place this year as we dive into another big week in markets. Take a look.
Central banking feels a lot like the internet's favorite dog meme right now. A pup sitting calmly in a burning room, confidently proclaiming everything's fine, when the reality appears to be anything but that. Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell took a leaf out of ECB President Christine Lagarde's book last week, telling us that policy was in a good place, even as the dollar went up in flames. Over in Canada, officials are getting increasingly comfortable with where interest rates are. That despite being the economy at the epicenter of President Trump's trade war. It was much the same message from Stockholm this week, and they all have a point. The global economy was remarkably well insulated from the varied political fires burning through 2025. Still, it doesn't take much imagination to see how we could exit this good place. New Fed Chair nominee Kevin Warsh thinks we already are. His argument for lower rates centers on AI and the wave of productivity it could unleash, lifting living standards without inflation. That may be true over the long run, but in 2026 it looks unlikely. AI or otherwise, the hiring data does jar a little with the Fed's more positive assessment of the jobs story last week. Now, we won't have the January payrolls data as per schedule this week. That is because of the temporary government shutdown before the funding kicks in. The jobs market is a big source of uncertainty. particularly when immigration appears to be falling sharply. For now, though, the Fed's mantra seems simple. Interest rates probably have a bit further to fall. But so long as unemployment stays contained, it can wait for more evidence that inflation has cooled further. The vibe is that this won't happen until the summer, with analysts pushing back their Fed rate cut calls to June. That unless the delayed jobs report next week and the one after it is a disaster. However, that's not what analysts expect. The real question is, what is that thing which pushes the Fed out of its happy place? Bumper tax refunds are likely in February. But the bigger question is whether Congress votes in more fiscal stimulus ahead of November's midterms. That election will be heavily fought on affordability. If it does, and any extra spending starts fanning the flames of inflation, that could become an issue for a wash-led Fed later this year. For now, central banks are still sipping their coffee in the corner, and with good reason. But the question is whether 2026 brings the moment they look up and say, this is not fine. Business Bureau, WION, World is One.
Spain is planning to ban social media use for children under the age of 16.
And also introduce new laws that could hold social media executives personally liable for hate speech and harmful content on their platforms. Now, the announcement was made by Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez at the World Government Summit in Dubai.
Now, Sanchez said that the measures are designed to protect children from online harm. Listen to this.
Today, our children are exposed to a space they were never meant to navigate alone. A space of addiction, abuse, pornography, manipulation, violence. We will no longer accept that. We will protect them from the digital Wild West.
He called on other European countries to introduce similar restrictions. Spain joins a growing list of countries now pushing for tougher social media regulations, and this is following Australia's decision to do so, banning social media for under 16s in December. Now, along with Spain, there is Britain and also France. This is after Australia became the first country in the world last year to ban social media.
We will turn algorithmic manipulation and amplification of illegal content into a new criminal offense. Disinformation doesn't appear by itself. It is created, promoted, and spread by certain actors. We will go after them as well as after the platforms whose algorithms amplified the disinformation for profit.
Sanchez said that Spain had joined what he called a coalition of the digitally willing, a group of 6 European countries aiming to coordinate and enforce cross-border digital regulations. He said the coalition will hold its first meeting in the coming days, but did not name the other countries involved.
Sanchez said online regulation is a shared challenge that goes beyond national borders. The proposed measures come as the European Union's Digital Services Act now requires social media platforms to moderate harmful content. Just 2 days left for the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics, but skiing great Lindsey Vonn, who ruptured her knee ligament last week following a crash, is not giving up on her dream of competing at the Winter Games. Listen to this.
Last Friday in Crans-Montana, in the last World Cup, I completely ruptured my ACL. I also have bone bruising, which is a common injury when you tear your ACL. And today I went skiing. And considering how my knee feels, it feels stable, I feel strong. My knee is not swollen, and with the help of a knee brace, I am confident that I can compete on Sunday. So this is not obviously what I had hoped for. I've been working really hard to come into these games in a much different position. I know what my chances were before the crash, and I know my chances aren't the same.
41-year-old wants comeback with a titanium implant in her right knee is one of the storylines of the Milan Cortina Games. But last Friday's clash, which was during the World Cup downhill in Crans-Montana, Switzerland, almost ended one's hope of competing at the Winter Games. The women's alpine ski program gets underway on Sunday with the downhill, the discipline in which Vonn won her sole Olympic medal in 2010.
Four-time world champion retired from the sport in 2019 but made a stunning comeback in December 2024 following a partial replacement of her right knee. She arrived in Cortina at the top of the World Cup downhill standings with 2 race wins and 3 more podium finishes and as one of the favourites for the gold medal. But another knee injury could deny Vonn the chance of breaking her own record for the oldest Olympic medal winner in women's alpine skiing. Vonn established that record by taking bronze in the downhill at the Winter Games 8 years ago.
Haiti may have just 2 male member team at the Winter Olympics, but when it comes to style, they are making a powerful statement.
Their winter uniforms have been designed by Italian-Haitian designer Stella Jean. The style is inspired by a striking painting by a renowned Haitian artist.
The artwork shows Haiti's founding father, Louverture, riding a horse, and that image was first woven into the jacket for men and skirt for women. But Olympic rules ban political and religious symbols, so after this, Jean worked with Italian artisans to carefully remove the figure from the design. What remains is still bold and symbolic, a charging red horse set against a tropical backdrop. For the athletes, the design reflects Haiti's birth as a nation. The word Haiti is written across the back, standing out against a bright blue sky.
We know that in these few meters of cloth, in this uniform, we must concentrate all of history and a message. Therefore, we cannot afford to engage in stylistic exercises. We have a commitment and a responsibility to convey a message. There are many messages in this uniform.
Jean also created additional looks for the Haitian delegation, including 2 women's outfits featuring fitted puffer jackets paired with quilted skirts. The look is completed with a traditional Haitian tainon, a head wrap once worn by women during colonial times, now reclaimed as a symbol of pride. The outfits are now complete with hand-painted details, and the final fittings are scheduled for next week. This marks Haiti's second appearance at the Winter Olympics. Earlier, Jean had also designed Haiti's outfits for the 2024 Summer Olympics. Those designs were widely praised and have since been added to the permanent collection at the Olympic Museum in Lausanne, Switzerland.
Well, that's all we had for you in this bulletin, in this edition of World DNA.
Slipping into a short break, stay with us. This is WION World is One. Global updates and news to continue on the other side. Stay with us. Come right back.
And welcome to a brand new edition of South India, a daily dynamic show that will capture the pulse of southern states.
By blending the special stories, the breaking alerts, and the culture developments as well.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building, coming soon to challenge perceptions in RS's centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime is your front row seat to darkness.
And welcome to a brand new edition of South India, a daily dynamic show that will capture the pulse of southern states.
By blending the special stories, the breaking alerts, and the culture developments as well. From the 7 days.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building, coming soon to challenge perceptions in RS's centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. White House has said talks with Iran are still on course. US President Donald Trump said the US is negotiating with Iran right now after Tehran demanded that planned talks be held in Oman, not Turkey, and that the scope be narrowed. Meanwhile, two incidents in West Asia threatened to derail the planned meeting. A US fighter jet shot down an Iranian drone flying near the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, while Iranian forces attempted to detain a US flagged tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. At a time of heightened US military presence near Iran, China's ocean-going research vessel Dayang Yihao, or Ocean No. 1, has been operating in the Arabian Sea. According to a maritime analysis group affiliated with Stanford University, the ship has been surveying waters west of India since December 19th. A separate military observer says both vessels may have crossed paths in the vast ocean. However, the exact distance between the two ships is not known. China has maintained a restrained stance in Iran-US tensions, warning the law of the jungle and opposing the use or threat of force in international relations.